Warframe is my favorite game of all time. The insane levels of build crafting, customization, and gameplay modes, combined with a consistent update schedule that's not afraid to get a little crazy with their content, for better or worse, ensures that I pretty much always have something cooking in-game. And unless something really crazy happens, that #1 spot won't be changing anytime soon. However, sitting on top of Warframe's content mountain has its perks. Namely, the ability to go take a break and play something else after I've gotten all the new swag from the latest update. How have I been spending that free time that Warframe's given me? Well, for one, this channel, so thank Pablo for that, but in taking cues out of Warframe's book, I've been playing other games to learn more about what I like in my main one. So, if you'd permit me this indulgence, I wanted to spend minutes talking about just some of the games that have had my attention span in a chokehold for the past year or so.
Alas, duty calls. And by duty, I mean crime.
After I gave up on League, I bounced to Smite for a while, but I never really clicked with it's like a 3D MOBA, but not style. In my head, there was really only one game I yearned for. Paragon, a fast-paced, third-person shooter MOBA hybrid that really felt like an evolution of the genre, where tactics and farming mattered just as much as twitch reflexes and movement, and Epic Games deleted it. Probably to go make Fortnite. So there I was, forced to yearn for Paragon Wukong, while only being able to settle for Smite Wukong. And Fortnite Wukong was also there, I guess. Paragon got revived in the form of several projects, namely Predecessor, and I don't care cause I'm playing Deadlock, son! When Deadlock came out, I was there from the jump. I mean, I was scared of how complex it was, only played with friends and was, well, terrible at it. But eventually, around late last year, around the time they added Victor, I decided to lock in and make a concentrated effort to learn the map, the characters, and the items. And now that I have, I can say that this is one of the greatest competitive games of all time. The combination of traditional MOBA elements with a third-person shooter camera and source engine schmovement creates a game that is, at the same time, so deeply complex, but also really easy to take a glance at and go, oh, yeah, I get what's happening here. I'm interested. I think everyone and their dog knows the fundamentals of a MOBA at this point, but what I like so much about Deadlock is that even with how much it already deviates from its peers, they're still not afraid to just start throwing weird shit at the wall to see what sticks. Slot machines that spit out permanent buffs, a capture the flag minigame, making new characters and reworking old ones with crazy new abilities that change the paradigm of the game. Not to mention how they just decided, oh yeah, let's go in at a massive underground tunnel network under the map that only 3 characters in the game can get into. As a Warframe modding aficionado, I also like how Deadlock is willing to let their items be varied, interesting, and weird. One of my biggest beefs with Smite was that every item was basically just a bundle of stats. None of them really did anything too interesting. But in Deadlock, we have Magic Carpet. Go, Maurice! I could rant about Deadlock's art style and double this section's length, but come on, you're seeing the same game as me. You can see why the art is so special and different. I can only hope that in life, you also choose to become a cultic noir 1900s gem amidst a sea of neon cyberpunk slop. Game's good. Can't wait for the full release. Jimmy, play me Marathon Code Race. Ooh. Get it? No, not the remix. The normal one. There we go. I like to think I was pretty primed for Marathon's release. I had a greater than normal understanding of what a marathon even was. I watched the Mandalore gaming videos, I dug through all the references in Destiny 2, so I know my euros from my Svit car, so to speak. But I still did not expect to fall as far into the Marathon rabbit hole as I did. Tragically, I have become the most annoying Marathon fanboy of all time. The Traxxas wheelbarrow. Traxxas is a corporation in Marathon. I gotta get out of here.
I'm really starting to hate Marathon by proxy.
Art direction is one of those things that I think myself and most gamers are really bad at commenting on and critiquing, but it's something that you do notice when it's good, or not there at all. So I am genuinely really glad that Marathon, well, one, was able to smooth things over with the online artists some of their people straight up stole art designs from. And secondly, I'm glad that they were able to create a setting that seems to intentionally differentiate itself from its peers while still looking good. Where other games focus on realism and smooth, Genshin Impact-ass UIs, Marathon makes its guns out of cubes and keeps its menus looking like a Linux terminal out of the year 69,000. As someone who spent a lot of time in labs during my academic career, the aesthetic of scientific utility in abandoned labs filled with traces of unknown, most likely extremely hazardous substances really speaks to me. It's funny, I was never that big of an extraction shooter guy. I got into Dark and Darker a little when it was a free play test, but other than that, I just had my attention turned elsewhere. But out of everyone who could have made the one that actually reeled me in, I'm glad it was Bungie, because everything they're known for just works so well with Marathon. The snappy gunplay, the enemy AI that gives me flashbacks to running Master Lost sectors, and I think what got me the most, their ability to write concise and compelling lore tidbits connected to all the little things you put in your inventory. It's funny, in Destiny 2, I rarely ever paid any mind to the lore entries connected to various weapons, but I feel like Marathon uniquely primes the gamer to read up on things. One, because the entire premise of the game, at least in these early seasons, is to figure out what on earth even happened on the Tau Ceti human colony and where all the colonists went, and two, because you have to fight for this lore. The dichotomy Marathon presents to you between fighting for your absolute life against people, robots, people, and Rook players to get a rare robotic kitty to extraction and off-planet, barely getting out with your life, and then you're sitting at the main menu as the game's relaxing if otherworldly OST washes over you. You're safe here. You can reorganize your vault and, if you want, read up on the lore about the rare shit you just pulled off the planet. Maybe it'll be fluff, some poignant world building, or some batshit insane entry about a ghost cat that goes around opening doors. This has been the second live service game I've talked about, but don't worry, this is the last one, I promise. And I'm really excited to see what becomes of Marathon as time goes on, and I hope we work our way up from fighting single compilers all the way up to... After I spent an entire week in a 100-person VTuber Hightail SMP, I developed a yearning for some simple, structured gameplay. And while possibly not in my right state of mind due to hours of staring at blocks, I decided that it would be really fun, or maybe just really funny, to play through every numerical Final Fantasy release in order. And I'm not laughing anymore, but I am listening and learning, because probably unsurprisingly, a lot of things that appear later on in Final Fantasy games appeared here first. I'm playing through the Pixel remaster of FF1 on PC, and it's interesting, because the story and gameplay are really nothing to write home about, and the remaster boosts your XP gain to the point that you almost never have to think about combat tactically whatsoever. But I think it's charming, in a way, to play through this piece of gaming history and experience one of the progenitors of the JRP genre as a whole. What I was most surprised about, though, was just how much stuff from Final Fantasy was originally based off of Dungeons and Dragons, from classes, spells, most of the monsters, and I think most shocking to me, the fact that Final Fantasy's spellcasting system originally used spell slots instead of the ubiquitous mana system that would then go to take over literally every other video game in existence. So yeah, Final Fantasy 1 is basically a game adaptation of Dungeons and Dragons, something Baldur's Gate 3 would shamelessly steal 36 years later. I'm hoping to work my way through the rest of the FF games eventually. Things are going pretty slow right now, but given the slowing trend in mainline Final Fantasy releases, I think I'll have plenty of time to get caught up.
No, you're fucked.
I feel kind of weird talking about content creators that I watch a lot on this channel, seeing as how now I kind of, am one, so I'll keep this brief. A streamer I watch a ton, Skullvolver, absolutely swears by the Kill the Past collection of games. Kill the Past is a lot of things. Primarily, it's a collection of video games, all from director Suda51. Since I fucked with Skullvolver's content, and he, commensurately, fucked with Suda51, I decided to check out Kill the Past for myself, starting with Killer 7. And yeah, nah, man, after that intro, I was hooked. But after that first level?
Friend, but unfortunately, our interest is not mutual. We both have become burdened with so much, and we don't have time for fun anymore.
No, there's always time for fun. It's Friday night.
Let's dance.
I've changed as a person. Killer 7 is a freaky cool, technically on-rails shooter, but you have full control over where the train goes and can reverse and change track if you catch my Tokyo drift. It's got a really killer art style and a story that's all presented in a way that feels so unique and poignant today, to say nothing of when it came out for the GameCube and PS2 in the mid-aughts. But when I really sat my white ass down and listened was when I finished Killer 7, saw the title screen change to Killer 8. Huh? What the fuck? Got scared and hopped over to No More Heroes.
Fuckhead!
An evergreen, or perhaps ever-burning talking point in the gaming community is whether or not a game needs to be fun to be good. And make no mistake, No More Heroes is a blast to play, but while it's not pulling any pathologic type shit, I am noting the intentional decision to split up high-octane assassination missions with the mundane loop of schlubbing around the fictional Californian city of Santa Destroy, living out of your shitty apartment, buying upgrades and cosmetics, and having to do odd jobs to make ends meet. Now, you might call me pretentious and on some ping-pong the animation shit, but I think it's hard to not see yourself in at least parts of Travis Touchdown, a goofy, crude loser of a man who nonetheless lives his life in pursuit of his one major passion, being the best assassin. But despite that passion, he still has to engage in the mundanities of life. He's gotta pick up trash, mow grass, pick up scorpions?
Where are the scorpions at? You'll need to get serum from your employer to save you if you get stung. Great, awesome. Oh shit, is that a scorpion? Ow! Shit, hey man, can I get a, quick stick your ass out, hurry before the poison circulates.
And I don't know, but as a Gen Z individual for whom the prospect of owning my own house is a goalpost that moves ever further over the horizon in a job market that is actively seeking ways to replace me with machines, I kinda relate to the world and people shown in No More Heroes. I've played games with better graphics, better combat, and just barely, better music, but I've never played a game, or series of games for that matter, that does so much in terms of themes and leaving stuff open to audience interpretation. I love this. I love the fact that I can keep thinking about these games long after I finish them. I'm kind of in between games now, but if you're curious as to where my Kill the Past journey has taken me through this four-dimensional timeline, after I cleared No More Heroes and Killer 7, I played No More Heroes 2 until I reached an unavoidable bug that caused my game to crash on the Captain Vladimir fight, and I have plans to play Travis Strikes Again, then No More Heroes, and then I'll crack open the silver case and Romeo is a dead man. Don't worry, they will change how I see games, and you will hear about them in my future content. I'll be honest, growing up, I never owned an Xbox. I actually didn't own any home gaming console. I had a Nintendo DS, a 3DS, and then I jumped to PC. Because of that, I missed out on a lot of formative 2000s era games that my friends would talk about. But I think one of the most influential, and fortunately most accessible now, was the Halo series. I won't lie to you, I've caught glimpses of Halo, mostly playing parts of the Reach campaign out of order at my best friend's house, and then getting absolutely stomped in multiplayer split screen. So let me tell you this, when I made the decision to start playing Halo CE late last year, I understood everything. At the time of making this video, I'm set to beat Halo 4 Spartan Ops sometime soon and then skip straight to Infinite since they never put 5 on PC. But I don't think any of those games are going to stick with me the extent that the first one has. Do you know what the word timeless means? Shows can be timeless, movies, art can be timeless. I can't put it into words, really, but the big thing is that they're able to break free of the aesthetics and technical look of their time. But for a video game to do that, a 3D console FPS nonetheless, in 2001? Do you know how good the art direction, the color theory, the use of resources has to be in a game for a guy like me to boot it up and have to remind myself, oh yeah, this was something that came out more than 20 years ago? A lot. It takes a lot. And it's really freaking good for that. The same goes for Combat Evolved's gameplay. I think it's easy nowadays to take for granted the Halo style of first-person shooters, or even first-person shooters in general. But when it came out, this thing was the blueprint, the gravitational anomaly that shaped the fabric of gaming space-time for the modern FPS henceforth. And, like, that's to say nothing of the level design, the storytelling, the reveal of the Flood, hello? It has been so cool to finally understand why exactly Halo always shows up on those "This is why gaming in X year will never be topped" posts. And even though for me it peaked right at the beginning, it's been nice to also experience the rest of the franchise's history, and also kind of heartbreaking to see the absolute tragedy the franchise has been put through in recent years. But hey, maybe after Master Chief becomes DLSS enabled, the franchise will bounce back in at least one possible timeline. And there you have it, a slight sampling of the kind of games I've been messing around with when I'm not grinding out more stuff in Warframe. Don't think this means I'm getting tired, fed up, or burnt out on Warframe either. In fact, I think with the point I'm at in Warframe, I'm able to space out my playtime a bit more, enjoy other cool gaming experiences, and then come back to the frame grind with a new level of enjoyment for the game. You probably noticed quite a bit of the clips and gameplay in this video having my stupid face in the corner. That's because most of the cool things I play, I try to go through them on stream, so if that's something you're interested in, there's a link in the description. One of the things that I think has been the coolest about growing this following online has been the chance to just talk about things I like, what I'm thinking about, etc., and for people to actually listen and respond about it. So, like, thanks. If you made it this far into the video, even if it mostly wasn't about Warframe, please let me know in the comments if you've got any absolute banger formative games you'd like to recommend, and I'll see y'all in my next video where we will return to your regularly scheduled Warframe broadcasting. See ya!